What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. I hope you're having a fantastic weekend. I've got a new offseason plan. So I did my initial perfect offseason plan video, and you guys should subscribe and go check that out. I still would be fine with most of those moves, but I've been tinkering a bit, and I've got a new plan here on today's show. As the combine's close, free agency is just around the corner. Then, of course, we got the draft later on this offseason. Here's the updated outlook for the Bears. Right now, their projected cap space is negative $5.3 million. That comes after the projected cap was announced, which is going to be probably around $303.5 million. The Bears have plenty of maneuvers. I've outlined that on a full episode as well, with contract restructures, trades, cuts, etc., to create plenty of cap space, which obviously we'll do some of that here on today's show. And from a draft standpoint, 7 draft picks, for 1 in each of the first 5 rounds, and then 2 in round 7 is what the Bears currently have. Don't think they're going to get any comp picks. They might get a conditional 7th from last year's free agency cycle, but that would be it, as they're not going to get the picks for Ian Cunningham going to Atlanta. All right, subscribe to the channel. We're bringing you off-season coverage every single day, news, rumors, free agency, and draft coverage here on Bears Now. If you want to be a part of the journey, hit that subscribe button. All right, new offseason plan. Cutting Tremaine Edmunds, I could do this video 30 times. I don't think that's changing. You say $15 million. Even if he and his reps came to you and was like, hey, I'll take an $8 million pay cut, I would just rather take the full 15 and just eat the 2.4 dead and things run their course. And Tremaine was having a good year, but he didn't look the same after the injury. And, when you add up his 3 years, he has not lived up to the contract. And look, when they signed him, there was always going to be an out after year 3. And that out is here. I expect that maneuver to take place, quite frankly, any day now. I would not be shocked if it was done soon. So I think he gets cut. Now, maybe he tests the market and there's money's not there and you could re-sign him for dirt cheap, but I just think he's on a different team next year is the most likely outcome. A couple other minor cuts I would make. Eamon Ogbongbemiga, $2.1 million in savings. That's not nothing for a guy who really only plays on special teams. You could find that. I mean, surely year 2 Ruben Hippolyte, he could play on special teams. And then Roschon Johnson, $1.2 million. It hasn't worked out. Can't stay healthy, and I think you can find a third running back that gives you more production at a similar price tag as Roschon Johnson. So after all those moves, you are up to $12.9 million in salary cap space, just like that, with primarily just cutting Tremaine Edmunds. Okay, number 2, I am going to restructure 4 players to create even more cap space. Now, again, there's about 10 guys you could, in theory, restructure to clear out a bunch of money. Again, if the maximum savings this team could have is over $100 million, but you don't want to do the maximum because then you're kicking down way too much money down the road. DJ Moore would save you almost $17 million if they did a full restructure. Montez Sweat, almost 10. Joe Thuney and Dio Odengbo, about 7.5. Jonah Jackson, 6.9. Jalen Johnson, 6.9. Grady Jarrett, 6.6. Kyler Gordon, 6.1. Drew Dahlman, $5 million. And then Cole Kmet, $4.4 million. So those are all candidates if you wanted to restructure their contracts. The 4 I'm going to pick are as follows. Joe Thuney saves you 7.6. Jonah Jackson, 6.8. Drew Dahlman, 5. Pretty much 5 flat. The reason I'm doing those 3 is I'm confident they're all on the team in 2027. And again, when you restructure, you're basically saying, hey, that player is going to be on my team next year, because when you kick that money down the road, the following season it becomes tougher to pivot off that player from a financial standpoint. And then Kyler Gordon, who I know did not play much this year, that 3-year contract is just kicking in. I'm going to bet on Kyler Gordon to bounce back and be healthy. He clearly can be an impactful guy. And I'm going to try to at least get 2 years out of this 3-year extension. So I'll go ahead and restructure him as well. And then all of a sudden, I'm up to $38.4 million. Why not restructure Dio Odengbo? Because I want to be able to cut him next year. It's as simple as that. If I am looking ahead to a year from now where I can get rid of a guy, I'm not going to restructure that player, because then I can't really get rid of him next year very easily. That's just how it works. Okay, number 3. I'm trading DJ Moore, and I know this is a hot button issue. I know it's a big debate. Why not restructure him, Harrison? Well, I'll explain all that coming up here in just a moment. But first, got to tell you about our sponsor, Ethos. ladies, gentlemen, it's not fun to talk about life insurance, but it's an important topic, especially if you're like me and you got a family, you got a wife, you got a child. Thinking about their livelihoods made it easier to discuss, and I'm so glad I found Ethos as my life insurance provider. I carry a lot of responsibility at home. If something happens to me, there's real consequences. Tuition, mortgage payments, everyday bills, those things don't just go away. Life can throw you curveballs, and it's best that you stay prepared. With Ethos, you can get life insurance in as little as 10 minutes. They have no medical exams, just a few easy health questions online. You can get same-day coverage without ever leaving your house. You can get up to $3 million in coverage, and some policies are as low as $30 per month with Ethos. Ethos has a 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews. They have left a lot of folks happy with their service. Help protect your family with life insurance through Ethos. Get your instant free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That is ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times and rates may vary. Ethos.com/NFL Daily. Check the link in the comments and description. Okay, so do you want to trade or restructure DJ Moore? I've chosen the trade path. Even though, yes, if you did a full restructure, you could save up to $16.8 million, and if you trade them at $16.5, if you post-June 1 traded them, it's actually $24.5, but I don't think that's a decision you would all of a sudden make, 3 months after free agency, right? Like, I think this is a decision you make, quite frankly, in the next month when it comes to DJ Moore and the Bears. I was told a week or two ago that a restructure is more likely. If it were me, I would trade him. So let me just explain what a contract restructure is so there's no confusion. An NFL contract restructure is a financial maneuver where a team converts a player's base salary or roster bonus into a signing bonus, providing immediate salary cap relief. This process reduces the current year's cap hit while increasing future cap hits by pushing or, quote, kicking the can on dead money. So, yes, you could restructure DJ Moore and save up to $16.8 million. That money, though, goes on to future years. So, again, you're basically saying a year from now, it's going to be kind of difficult to move on from DJ Moore. If you're already kind of on the fence about keeping him, like I am, like I could see it both ways. What I don't want to do is be kind of stuck with him for 2 years. I want Rome Odunze to have a bigger role. I want Luther Burden to have a bigger role. Colston Loveland is going to be a big focal point of this offense. This discussion isn't a is DJ Moore good discussion. He is good, but I don't think he's great. I don't think he's elite. I don't think he's worth a $28.5 million cap hit. So I'm not going to whine and bitch if they keep him on a restructured contract, but you're just in the same position a year from now if you do that, if not slightly more difficult from a financial standpoint in terms of trying to get off that contract. So I just think do it now, trade him, get a middle round pick. It's not going to be a great return, and let's unleash these young guys and lean into those guys. You can find a receiver on day 3 of the draft to throw into this rotation. So, it is what it is. If his agent came to the Bears and was like, hey, we'll just take a straight up pay cut, that would be great. I would do that. But why would DJ Moore do that? I don't think he should do that. Like, the Bears signed him to a contract. So I would trade him. I don't want 2 more years of DJ Moore, or at least I don't want the lack of flexibility. And you might say, well, then why not just have him play this year out? I don't think him playing this year on a $28.5 million cap hit helps you either. Because then it becomes tougher to go get an impactful pass rusher in free agency or on the trade market or whatever the case may be. So I know people think I'm the anti-DJ guy. No, I'm trying to construct a roster. I'm playing GM in this exercise. And to me, his contract structure does not fit where I'm going. So I would trade him and cut my losses there. Okay, if they do trade him, I think these are some teams that can make sense. The Bills could look to add a playmaker. I think the Raiders make a lot of sense with Fernando Mendoza coming in. The Patriots as well, the Giants, the Titans. And by the way, for DJ Moore, he would be utilized more elsewhere than he will here. So it might just be a win-win all around. He seems to like it here. He won for the first time ever, but I just think, to me, the 2 young guys behind him are ascending players. He's not ascending, and he just makes too much money for what he's producing at this point. What is your DJ Moore decision? What would you do? You can gladly disagree with me, and that's the beauty of this conversation. Type T for trade or R for restructure. I think I would just trade him and just move on with it. But we'll see what happens. Okay, if you do trade him, which is what I'm doing, you're now up to $54.5 million if you are the Chicago Bears. So let's go to my next step. I'm going to go sign Trey Hendrickson. I'm going to bring him on board. The first perfect offseason, I traded for Maxx Crosby, which, listen, I love Max. If the Bears trade for Max, I'll be thrilled. But I'm growing to the idea of if you can get Trey Hendrickson on a reasonable contract like this, I'm going to project 2 years and $45 million, 22.5. I'll give him 30 guaranteed. So he gets a little piece of the pie in year 2. If the Bears pivot off, they can get out of most of it, but Trey still gets more than just 1 full year of guaranteed money there. He'd basically get the guarantees he got this year from Cincinnati, which was 29. I'll give him 30. And if it works out in year 1, you keep him year 2. If not, you can cut him, but at least he gets a little extra guaranteed money there. It's a win-win for both sides. And look, again, I'm very open to Maxx Crosby. I hope the Bears at least pursue that and see what the offer's looking like. But if you sign Trey, I think the money's less. You also save draft picks where you can still go attack an interior defensive line, get a young edge to develop while you've got Trey Hendrickson on a short-term deal. So I think right now, if you ask me, hey, would I rather trade a first and a day 2 pick for Maxx Crosby or sign Trey Hendrickson to this contract? If both are available, I think I would lean Trey Hendrickson, actually, even though I think Max is a better overall player. Okay, number 5, I'm re-signing Kevin Byard. I think everyone out there would agree with that for the most part. You know, he said before this year he's year to year at this point, but I think with the year he had, I could see him signing a 2-year deal, and it kind of helps both sides out because you could keep the cap hit down this year depending on how you structure it. 2 years, $14 million, 9 guaranteed. So kind of like the Hendrickson deal, he gets a little extra pie in year 2. So if it doesn't work out, if he falls off and the Bears pivot, he gets a little extra guaranteed there. I think that's a fair deal for both sides. He signed a 2 for $15 2 years ago, so similar contract. He is 2 years older now than when he signed that first deal. He'll be 33 this year, so I still think he is year to year, but you could still give him a 2-year deal where the second year is almost like an option for the Bears. Some other re-signings I would try to do. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, $3.8 million. I wouldn't break the bank. I'm probably not going more than 4.5 or 5, but if you can get him, in the 4s or high 3s, I'd like to bring him back. He's got versatility. He could start at safety next to Gardner-Johnson, gives you some depth behind Kyler Gordon. You could use him in sub packages. DeMarco Jackson, I want him back. He can compete for a starting job, gives you some speed at linebacker, which you need. Case Keenum, if he wants to play, I think he played a nice role in that QB room. He could retire. We'll see what happens. Devin Duvernay, as the year went on, really became a weapon as a returner. I'd like him back in that role and as like a wide receiver 5. And then Durham Smythe, I think is the third tight end, played a notable role as well. So I'd like him back in the fold as long as you don't have to break the bank. After all those moves, Hendrickson, the other re-signings, including Kevin Byard, you now have $13.3 million. Well, I can get that number back up a little bit by extending Cole Kmet, which I do think makes a lot of sense because his cap hit right now is over $11 million. That's a little too high, right? Just like DJ at 28 is too high, but you're not talking about almost $30 million you're having to make a big decision on. You're talking about a guy who is what I would call like a high-end role player, low-end starter type, not low-end starter, but like not a primary player, right? But a glue guy, a guy who loves being here, wants to see this through, Chicago guy. He's made his money now on that big contract. I think a team-friendly type of contract, 2-year deal, maybe like $6 to $8 million per year, similar to Kevin Byard, 2 for $14, that'd be fine. Depending on the extension structure, you could save up to $7.1 million this upcoming year in an extension for Cole Kmet. So all of a sudden, his cap it goes from 11 and change to like 4. And, you kick a little bit more money down the road. You space it out a little bit as he's got 2 years left on that last deal he signed, 2 years added to it. Now it's like a 4-year, do quick math. It's like 4 for 35 over the next 4 years, depending on how you space it out. You could probably get out of it 2 years from now if you needed to. So you do that, now you're back up over $20 million. So that gives you a lot of flexibility. You're obviously going to sign probably a couple more external free agents, some role player types. If you extend Darnell Wright, which is another move I would make, if you want to put some money on it this year, since you have some extra cap room, you can do that. So I would extend Darnell Wright. That gives you flexibility to throw some money on year 1. if you want to. Obviously, you're going to have to attack a left tackle, so having up to $20 million, maybe you got to spend $8 to $10 million bucks on a guy for that. And then, just from a draft standpoint, you still have money to pay your draft class, but specifically, I'm attacking defensive tackle and safety in the first 2 days of the draft. You got a first, a second, and a third round pick. 2 of those 3 picks ideally cover off defensive tackle and safety. Plenty of options to choose from. The Bears should be able to accomplish that if they want to. All right, there you go. My updated Bears offseason plan. Give me a grade. How did I do? A, B, C, D, or F? And if there's any changes you would make, let me know down in the comment section below. My name is Harrison Graham. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Chicago Bears Now. We will be back soon with another episode, so subscribe and bear down.